Hi everyone, thank you for joining. Uh, Please just ping in the chat box if you're able to hear me clearly. Okay, cool. Thanks, Shreya. I'll just quickly share my screen. We'll just wait for a couple of minutes so that my friend can join. Then we'll start.
Am I audible, sir? Hello, Prasad. Am I audible?
No, you are not, Smith.
Hello, Prasad. Am I audible? Hello.
Smith, I think it's some problem from my end. So let me just.
हॅलो. अरे मी सगळ्यात आधी मीच आलोय, माझा आवाजच येत नाही. स्मिथ म्हणजे मी. हा मीच आहे बहुतेक.
So yeah, hi everyone. Seems like there's some problem from my end. I cannot hear you guys. So what I can do is there's already chat window open in my window, so that if you have any questions, I'll continuously be checking all the messages in some time interval, and you can post your questions there, so that I'll try to answer those. Okay, let's start the session. So so basically the agenda of session is if you are totally new to Python. As we already know, Python is one of the most liked language this in this time, and so that's why if you're looking for getting started with Python, so this session will help you for clearing all the fundamentals of Python and some hands-on programming as well. So I'm expecting that you're all attending this session on your PC because we can code side by side as well. So that's what I'm thinking. If you are not on a PC and you're just attending this webinar on the phone, then what I could suggest is just take a rough note and pen, and then try to solve the assignment whatever we have in this session. Okay. So let's start this. What is Python basics? Okay. So firstly, I'm not going to go much into details. So we'll quickly start with what is Python. So Python is one of the most famous language, as there are few points. First, it is very easy to learn. If you are already familiar with any programming language like C, C++, or Java, you will find Python is a very easy language to learn. As the syntaxes are very simple and user friendly. Second is Python is not compiled language, it is interpreted language. Okay. So what is interpreted language? That means just like C, when you write a program, then you first need to compile it, and then you need to run it. Okay. So what is compilation process is basically whatever you have written the code, the compilation process turns that code into the machine specific language. Okay. The binary language or whatever language which machine can read and you cannot. Okay. The specific machine, the target machine. Okay. So this is not case with the Python. Python is interpreted language. That means what it does is it will convert your code, your written source code, into such universal code which the Python software can read. And this Python software or Python libraries can be installed into any machines. So once you have written the code, it can be run into multiple machines. So that's the biggest second advantage. And third advantage is it is vast community. That means it has number of libraries available. For example, let's say you want to develop a website. Okay. So you don't need to write the code from scratch. There are already Python frameworks, Python libraries are created for you. You just have to import it and use it. Second example, the gaming. Just like web development, if you want to develop a game in Python, there are already libraries for you which gives you predefined, let's say the character design libraries or background design libraries, animation libraries. These are also available. So these are main three advantages of Python. So let's get started. I've already have some, 1 second. Yes. So can you just quickly type in the window if you are able to see my whole screen? Yes. Thank you, Shreya. So basically, this is the online compiler, Python compiler, which we are going to use. And the name is basically programmist.com, so that you can directly type into the URL box and the compiler will get open. Okay. So let's start with the typical Hello World program. So in this session, basically, I'm planning to cover at least these three sections. Okay, so let's start with first one. What is print? Okay, it is simple syntax for print, which is print hello world. If you run it, it will display whatever string you have written into the output console. So the syntax is print round brackets and quotes and whatever string you want to write. Okay, now what if now this is part of static message. Okay, but sometimes we don't want a static message. Okay, so what we want to do, let's say we have multiple string and we need to join these strings. Okay, so for that there is plus operator, which is concat operator, that we can use. And instead of word, let's say I have second string, which is Prasad. Very basic. Okay, so here we have two strings joined with concatenation operator. This plus symbol is basically concatenation operator. Now again, this is kind of static as well, because this both string are as already hard coded in the program. So in real world scenario, we don't want much hard coded stuff in the program. So what you can do is we can define a variable, let's say var1. And in var1, we can give the name like Prasad. And instead of this hard coded string, we can use the variable. Okay, so you don't need to change the print statement. You can just change the variable and this program will work. Okay, so what is variable? Variable is basically giving a name to particular memory area. Okay, so what's happening in this code is you're storing this set of characters into some part of memory, some part of RAM, right? Okay, so this RAM has particular address. Okay, and simply you are giving a name to that address, so that whenever you want to access this string or this piece of data, instead of giving the whole address, memory address, you are giving it as a name, as a alias, which is var1. Okay, so here we have learned the concat operation and the variable. Okay, where is this one? Okay, now my question is, how will you let's say I have two variables, Smith and let's say Prasad. Hello Smith and say var2. Okay, so just think what would be the output. I hope you guessed it right. It will give two variables, hello Smith and Prasad. Pretty simple. But now my question is, I want to type something like let's say I want to type my favorite number is 36. Okay, so now instead of I want to use a variable which is my name, Prasad. Let's change the variable name. So I will concat. Yeah. So okay, Prasad's favorite number is 36. Now what I want to do is I want to make a variable for this 36 number as well. Okay, so can you just think how we can do this? So instead of this hard coded 36, I want to create a variable. Let's say number equal to 36. And instead of this, I want to use, I'll use variable number. Quickly send me into the chat box if this approach is correct or not. Okay. So yeah, I got one response saying, yes, this approach is correct. Do we need to keep that in double quotes? Yes, exactly. So if I run this program, I will get an error saying that only concatenate, we can only concatenate strings and not int. Okay. So what's the problem here? So if you want to, okay, let's keep this for a moment. Okay. We just simply print the name, which is Prasad. Now, what is the data type of this variable? Okay, so there is one function called type, in which we can get what is the type of the variable. If you see class str, that means the name variable is of type string. Okay, now let's say what is the data type of the string. It is integer. Why it is integer? Because we are not using single quotes here. Okay, so the plus operator or the concatenation operator cannot work between string and int. Okay, this is one of the main point. Okay, so now if I want to print this, what I need to do is I need to convert, I need to basically convert this 36 into string. Okay, now if we see the data, if we see the data type of the number variable, it is string. Why? Because we are giving it into the quotes, and our print statement has worked as well. Okay, now it is not necessary that every time you will get your input in desired format. For example, here we need 36 as a string. It is number, but still we want to string because we want to concatenate. So it will not happen in real time that you will get in exact format. So we need to cast this. What is mean by casting? To convert one data type into another data type. Okay, and what is function for that? It is simply, if we have this 36 as a number, we can simply use str and brackets. So now this 36 number as an int is converted into str, and if we see, the statement has worked. Okay, now similarly, if we want to convert, let's say we have number 36, but we want to convert it into int. So what's the syntax? In int this, and if we print the type of number, it will be int. Okay, so so one thing, concatenation operator does not work with different data types. It needs either string or numbers. It will work in both ints as well. For example, if you do 5 plus 6, I'll do it here, 5 plus 6, or let's say 1 plus 1. Okay, it will work. Why? Because both the data types are same. If I do 1 plus 1, it will also work. It will give 1 1. It will simply append the strings. It will also work, but it will not work in this case. Okay, so to make all the data types similar, we have used cast functionality. Clear till this point? Please post in this chat window so that I got to know. Yes, clear. Okay, thanks, Shreya. So we have used variable, we have used type, we have used concat, we have used cast. Now, what is dot format? Okay, let's say I have, let's say mark 1 as, let's say 20, mark 2 as 25. I basically have 3 variables, 30, mark 3. Simple. Now what I want to do is I want to print this in the concatenated fashion. Okay, so what I'll do is let's say mark1 plus append some spaces plus add a hard coding. My marks are mark1 plus space mark2 plus spaces mark3. Will it work? Uh-oh, okay. What happened? Because we haven't. Yes, okay. This will work. But this looks bit complicated because this concatenation operator we are using, multiple times for in the single statement, right? So for that, there is cleaner way in Python. What you can do is simple. You will write this and this curly brackets. Simple. So what it will print? This curly brackets. Okay. And there is one function called dot format. Okay. And in sequence, you have to give the variables. Let's say mark1, mark2, mark3. Easy. And as per the sequence, this curly brackets will get replaced with the appropriate variable that we want. This is the cleaner way. I hope it's clear. It's the simple point. Input is not important. Let's go for the control statements. Okay. I hope the print statement is clear to everyone. Please ping in the chat if it's clear. And we'll start with control statement. Okay. So what are the control statements? So in any program, we want some kind of conditions. For example, if we have one data flow, complete data flow. So in that case, okay, my camera is not on, I guess. Okay, not a problem. So so control statements are basically controlling the flow of the code snippets or the data in the complete program. Okay. So there can be condition. For example, if you see any site, let's say we have one site which can let's say Facebook. We have Facebook, and we want our users to log in only if they are 15 years or older than that. Okay. So in such case, it is a simple if else statement. If age equal to 15, then let's say pass, else fail. So this kind of this kind of statements we call it as control statements. So this is one of the main control statement is Python. So let's see what is the syntax. Okay. So let's say print login to Facebook, and let's create a variable called as age. If my age equal to let's say 15, not equal to greater than or equal to 15, then print you can log in, else print you can't log in. Simple. So what is the syntax here? We can see we have created one variable age. We are printing some random message. If my age is greater than or equal to 15 colon code snippet, else colon code snippet. Okay. Now how this program will know what kind of which statements to be executed in the if statement. So that's why we don't have like in Java, what we do is we have used curly brackets, and here we are use multiple statements. So Java program will know that we need to execute all the code between these curly brackets, but this is not a case in Python. So Python will get to know from this indentations. Okay. So these indentations are very important. If the case is passed successfully, then this code, then run this code, else run this code. Okay, pretty simple. I'll try to execute it. Okay, you can log in because my age is greater than or equal to 15. Okay. Now I only want to, let's say, log in when my age is 15. Okay. So for that, what we can do is we can remove this else part. This is not needed anymore. Now age equal to 15, only then you can log in. Okay. Now my age is 15. Let's try to execute this. Okay. You can log in. If my age is, let's say, 14, nothing happened. Only this message got printed. If my age is 24, nothing happened. So in this, if in this control statement, if you are using only if and else, the else part is optional. It is not required. Okay. Now let's say what if we have multiple let's say condition. For example, if my age is, let's say, less than 15, then I can log into children section. If my age is if my age is let's say greater than 15 and age is less than, let's say, 20, then print you can log into, let's say, teen section, and else you can log in, you have whole access. Okay. So here what we are doing is we are checking multiple conditions. Okay. If my age is less than 15, then print this. If my age is greater than 15 but less than 20, then print the second statement, or whatever it is, print the third statement. Okay. So this we known as if else ladder. Okay. And here slight changes, this two ifs will not work. So instead of that, what we need to do is elif, which is stands for else if. What is this? Okay, so there's a quick note. If after 40 minutes you'll automatically get disconnected, wait for a minute and then wait for a minute and then reconnect. If disconnect. Okay, so this is if else ladder. Let's try to execute this. 24. Why 24? Because you have whole access. Yeah, that's correct. So let's see 14. You can log into children section, and let's say 16 or 17. Simple. You can log into teen section. So this is if else ladder. Important point. If you are using single if and else, the else part was optional that we have seen. But if you are using the ladder, for example, this one, if, elif, and else, then the else part is required. It is mandatory. Okay. So that is if else ladder. After that, operators. So what are operators? So there are two types of operators basically: relational operator and logical operator. So relational and logical. So let's see in this program. So here, this is one condition. This is another condition. Now these two conditions are joined by logical operator. Okay, which is AND. Okay, there are two widely main operators, and OR. Okay, so this condition and this condition, both conditions should be true to get this block executed. Okay, and that is the functionality of AND operator. Okay, if I'll write OR, okay, then either this condition or this condition. This is simply logical, right? And OR. In AND, both conditions should be true. In OR, any one of the conditions should be true. Okay, so that's logical operator that we have used here. Second thing, what are relational operators? Relational operators are basically whatever we are used for comparing. For example, we are comparing here, and here as well. So what are we comparing? The numbers. Age should be less than 15. Age should be greater than 15. So this statements like greater than, less than, let's say less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, all these are relational operators. So there are basically two types of operator, widely used: relational operator and logical operator. Okay, so now one main thing here is, if you want to assign, okay, what do you mean by assign? That means assign the value from the right to variable to the left. Okay, we use single equal to, but now when we want to compare, we need to use double equal to. Print, let's say hello. Okay, so here is the difference. Single equal to we need to use where we want to initialize the stuff or initialize the variable. Double equal to we are using whenever we want to compare the values. Okay, otherwise it will give the error. Syntax error. Okay, I hope this point is clear. So these are the two operators, relational and logical operators. Let's move forward to the loops. For and while loop. Okay, so so what are loops? Okay, so I want to print the hello world, let's say 10 times. Okay, so what my traditional approach is, print 1 2 3 4 5 6 and so on. Okay, so whatever we want to do repetitively, we can use loops for that, and the famous loop is for loop. So in the for loop, what we can do is we can give the range till which the loops will run. For example, for let's say I in range, let's say 1 to 11 maybe, and this will not work because the indentations are not clear. If we want to run the code snippet inside the for loop, it need to be indented. Okay, will work. Okay, fine. So this is basically the for loop. Range is the function which will give you the numbers, which will be starting is this number, ending is this number. If I simply print the I is one of the variable which pointing to each value in the current iteration. Okay, if you see here, in the first iteration we have value ith value is as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and till 10. Okay, but we have given range till 11. Okay, so why it is giving till 10? Because the range operator will start from 0. Okay, if you see here, it will start from 0, and from 0 the next 11 elements. It does not indicate the last number, it indicates the length. If you see here, this length is 11 because we have it has started from 0. Okay, that's why whatever, if you want to do 1 to 10, then always give ending limit as 10 plus 1, which is 11. Okay, if you want till 20, give 21. It's pretty clear. So this is for loop basically. So it is printing one statement till number of times. Okay, whatever we have initialized here. That's the for loop. And second loop is while loop maybe. So while, let's say we have a variable which is 1, while condition, and let's say a equal to a plus 1 and print a. Break, if a is greater than or equal to 10, then let's say break. Okay, I guess it's pretty okay. Everyone. Okay, so I'm writing currently this as true. So while statement, so syntax of while statement is while keyword, and the condition. Okay, it can be any condition using the relational operator which we have seen earlier. Okay, now for the test purpose, I have written hard coded as true. So this loop will go into continuous iteration and it will not break. Okay, so what this code will do is it will increment the value of variable to +1. Okay, simple, and it is printing the variable. Okay, now to break this condition, my breaking condition is if my a is greater than or equal to 10, or let's say equal to 10, break the loop. Simple. Let's try to run it. Okay, 2 3 4 5 6 7, because it has already 1, so it started from 2. If I do this 0, it will start from 1. Pretty clear. But now what if I don't want to explicitly write this if condition? So what you can do is you can simply remove it from here and add this condition in front of while keyword. Okay, so while true, this condition should be true. So in this case, if my a is less than or equal to 10, then execute this code, otherwise break it. So now we don't need to do this. Okay, let's take a closer look here. While a is less than or equal to 10, then increment the value by 1, print the value, and again start the second iteration. Okay, I'll try to run it. Simple. Okay, now the 11th value is already come, because we have used this equal to 10. If we simply put the condition less than 10, then in the 9th iteration itself the loop will break, and 9 plus 1 equal to 10, and it will break the loop. Simple. Please ping me in the chat box if the loops and control statements are clear or not. Clear. Okay, that's good. Loops, for and while loop. Okay, okay, cool. So let's move towards the functions. Okay, so what are the functions? Functions are basically the code snippet which is common for all the functionalities. Okay, so for example, if we have one function called welcome. Okay, and in that welcome we need to simply print the welcome message. Simple. Welcome, let's say guest. Okay, now can you guess what will be the output of this whole program? Nothing. That's right. This program will output nothing, because we have just initialized the function and we have never called it. Okay, so it's just like you have written some that's right. So the function is not called, so it is just like you have written one script or any program, but you are not running it. Okay, you have just written it and kept it there, so it will not run automatically, right? So in such cases, how to call this function is simply the function name, welcome guest. Okay, so how to create functions? There is a keyword called def, define. After that, the function name, double this round brackets. Okay, and in that, in the indentation indented format, we will give the code snippet, whatever we want to perform in that function. Okay, now this is simple static function. But what if instead of let's say welcome guest as a common hard-coded string, I want to get the personalized name? Okay, the concatenation operator, what we have seen, and the variable. Okay, so now this variable needs to be defined in the arguments, in the brackets, and this value will get whenever we are calling the function. Okay, let's say Prasad. So here what we are doing is we are calling the function with the argument Prasad. Now this argument will receive as a parameter in the name variable, and then it will print the message. Let's see. Welcome Prasad. Okay, is it working? So one of the main powerful function of the Python is you don't need to define the data types of the variable. For example, we have seen that we have simply done this kind of initialization, right? Name equal to Prasad. If you are familiar with any kind of programming language like C or Java, we need to give data type explicitly here, like int data type or string data type, whatever. But here this one main powerful feature of Python is it is dynamically typed. That means it will automatically detect the type of the data, and according to that it will give the data type to the variable. Okay, so we should not we do not need to mention it explicitly. Okay, so that's one of the powerful feature, that it is dynamically typed. Python is dynamically typed. Okay, so welcome Prasad, that's cool. Now let's say age as well. I want to pass age as well. Welcome Prasad, and I need to create the second variable, concat operator. Your age is let's say age. Okay. It is not running. Why it is not running? Run. Can you guess the problem? Can concat only concatenate the string and not the int? Okay, we are passing it from the int. So what we need to do is we need to cast it, right? Cast to str. Perfect. Welcome Prasad, and age is 25. Okay, but now I don't know the sequence. Okay, so it is basically by default it will catch the sequence of the arguments. Okay, so first argument will go to the first parameter, second argument will go to the second parameter. But now I don't know the let's say this, I don't know the sequence. Okay. Okay, let's do the str here as well. Welcome 25. Your name is your age is Prasad. Doesn't make any sense. So what if we don't know the sequence? Okay, so till now we have seen the function without any parameters. We have seen with function with one parameter. We have seen functions with two parameters. But now with the two parameters, we are having trouble with the sequence. Okay, so in such case, the named parameter is what we can use. So basically what the name parameter is, we can instead of passing just the values, we can give the keyword or actual variable name, and then we should pass it. Okay, so now if we see here, welcome Prasad, your age is 25. Okay, now here the thing is these two parameters obviously need to be same. Okay, but here the catch is sequence does not matter anymore because we have given keywords already. Okay, so just like that you can pass any parameters to any function. It can be keyworded parameters like this, or it could be without any keywords. But if we use without any keywords, we need to be cautious with the sequence of the arguments. Okay, now what if I want to, let's say, return a string? Okay, so simply the keyword return, let's say name, not name, name. It will simply return my name again. Okay, but just that in uppercase. Okay, so it is so now my function is returning some value. It is not just printing, it is also returning some value. So how to catch this this value? Okay, so simply what we can do is v1 equal to the function name. Okay, so whatever value we are returning from the function, it will get written, it will get stored in the v1 variable. Let's see how it goes. It has printed the message and returning a value which is stored in v1. Okay, so dot upper function is basically converting to the uppercase. There are many functions which you can explore later. Okay, this is v1. Now we have defined a function. We have passed multiple keyworded parameters. We have written one value. But what if we want to return multiple values? Okay, so now I want to return name and my age plus 5. Okay, so let's say my age is 25. It will return 30. Okay, so now how to catch this multiple return variables, right? So very simple, comma v2. That's all. That's the beauty of Python. If we see v2, Prasad and 30. Very simple, right? So this is basically covering all the aspects from the functions. We have used fixed argument, we have used keyworded arguments, variable arguments, and written multiple values. Okay, now one of the collections, or I would say lists. Now one of the main collection in the Python, which is list. So list is basically the what I would say the array or the set of elements what we have in similar to whatever we have in Java or C language. So it could be a series of, let's say, A, B, C, D. Okay, so this is basically, if we print the A, we'll get the variable which stores multiple elements. Okay, so that is collection, and this collection which we write in the square brackets known as list. Okay, again it can be any type. For example, it could be mixture of string and int as well. It's not a problem, it is flexible with that. Okay, and if we print A, we'll get all the elements. Okay, now let's see what's the type of the A or the list. List. Okay, so it is a collection. It is the default collection which is present in Python libraries, standard Python libraries. Okay, now what if let's say I want to iterate through the list, so I want to access each element of the list. We'll simply use for loop for I in list. Previously we have used range function, but here, as the list collection is iterable, so we can simply use this syntax for I in A. A is basically the list or any iterable object for that matter. Okay, we'll get each element. What if I want to convert each element to upper? Okay, so simply I'll write here I dot upper, and we'll get all the elements. Okay, so iterating through the list. Now let's keep this for a moment. Let's see how to add this element in the list. Okay, it is very simple. A dot append, and whatever element you want to. Okay, so previously, initially the list is ABCD. Now I've added one more element, E. Let's see what's the output. ABCDE. Simple. This is adding the element. How do you remove the element? Simple. Remove. And let's say I want to remove C. Okay, we have added E and we have removed C. Okay, so these are two main functionalities, how to add and how to remove. Okay, if we want to initialize the blank list, it is very simple. B equal to empty. Okay, so in this way we can initialize empty string. Now the question is, what if I do B equal to A? And if I print A, I want this answer from you in the chat box. What will be the output of these two print statements? Swapping method. Okay. Two list with the same element. Okay. Let's try to execute this. Okay. So now we already have A, which is initialized. It will print A as it is. And we have created a new list, which is B, which is copy of A. Okay. Now think on that. What if I will remove one element from, let's say I want to remove A from the first list. I want to remove D, let's say, from the first list. I'll say this is L1 and L2. L1 say I have removed D element and I want to print L1 and L2. Okay. Just think on that. What will be the output of L1 and L2? No change in B list. Okay. Okay. What happened? A is not defined. So the thing is, if you see here, if I removed element D from the list 1, it will also get removed from the list 2. Okay. The reason being, whenever we are writing this statement L2 equal to L1, it will not create the separate copy of list. Okay. It will simply give the reference of L1 and store it into L2. I will repeat this statement. Whenever we are doing L2 equal to L1, the right value gets into the left value. Okay. But here in this case, the L2 is not the independent list which gets created. Simply reference of L1 is getting transferred into L2. So basically this L1 and L2 will refer to same piece of the memory, and basically this L1 and L2 both are same string. So even if I remove any element from L1, it will automatically get removed from L2 as well. Okay. So this is just setting the same reference to the different variable, but we don't want this. Okay. So there is one method dot copy. Okay. And this is important method. So you want to, whenever you want to create a duplicate list, simply you cannot write L2 equal to L1, but what you need to write is L1 dot copy. Okay. So copy this list and store it independently into L2. Okay. So now we have two lists. L2 is now copy of L1, and I have removed D from L1. So let's see what's the output. Now we got that, right? So only from L1 the D element got removed, and the second list is untouched. Cool. So this is dot copy. So that is the basically difference between L2 equal to L1 and L2 equal to L1 dot copy. Delete element, add element, manipulate elements, iterate through the list, concat list. Okay, how do you concat list? L2 equal to let's say X and Y. How do you concat list? It is very simple. L1 plus L2. Okay, so ABCD and XY simply. And how to store it into the new list? Let's say I want to create a new list, which is concatenation of L1 plus L2, and I want to print L3. Simple. This concatenation works with L1 and L2. Why? because both are having same data types, which is same class. And what is the class? List. Correct? Copy list. List comprehensions. List comprehension is one of the, okay, I got it. List comprehension, important part guys. What is list comprehensions? Okay, so how do you iterate through the list? Okay, simple, for I in L1 and print each element, and I got A B C D. Okay, perfect. Now what I want to do is I want to let's say convert it to uppercase. We have already done this. Okay, A B C D. Now what I want to do is whatever I have created, right, uppercase, each element into uppercase, I want to store it into the new list, and my new list is maybe L2, which is empty at the start. So just give it a thought. How can you store it into L2, each element? You might be relating with how to add elements with the dot append method that we have just seen. If you are thinking something like that, you're absolutely, sorry, not L1, L2. You're absolutely right. Print L2. Okay. Now we have one new list which is having all the uppercase elements. Okay. But now instead of this for loop, what we can do is we can simply do this in one line. Okay. So for that, what we need to do is in the square bracket, because this is form of list, I for I in L1. Okay. For I in L1, this is the same as for loop. Okay. And what I want to do is L2 dot append whatever we have written, we need to write it in the here. Okay. So what this statement is doing is iterate through list 1, and for each element I, convert it to uppercase and append it to list 2. So this previous 4 lines of code directly converted into 1 line of code. And if we see the output, it is still same. This is known as list comprehensions. Okay. So in the one line, you can do whatever you want to do in the one line itself. For example, instead of upper, I want to add the XXX as well. If you see A, B, C, it will apply to all the elements, each and every element in the list 1 collection. Okay. So this is one of the important point from the interview perspective. And the final last program based on the list. Okay. So let's say I have list 1 and I have duplicates. Let's say A and C is my duplicates. Okay. So how do you remove duplicates? Okay. How do you remove duplicates from the list? Okay. So basically I want to create a new list in which all the elements should be unique. Okay. So basically this A and C should not be there in list 2. Okay. So for that, what you can do is simple, for I in L2, I in L1, print I. Let's see. Yeah, we have A duplicate and C duplicate. Okay. Now here, we need to append it just like previous. L2 dot append. L2 dot append. What we need to append? I. Okay. And let's print L2 as well. Okay. So now in L2 also we have duplicates. Why? Because we are simply appending it. Okay, so before appending it, simply we need to give one if condition. If the element is present in L2, if not present in L2, then L2 dot append. Okay, so what is syntax for that? If I not in L2. Very simple. If I not in L2, so Python internally checks the whole L2 list, checks if the element is in L2 or not. If it is not, then only append. Okay. So now if you see, we have duplicates A and C in the A list, but we don't have into L2. Important question for interview. I hope it is clear. Can you just send a message in chat box if this program is clear or not? Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I guess we have covered almost whatever I wanted to do here. Okay. So any question, guys? So any question you have regarding any of the topics which are listed in here? No. Okay. Any question related to this? Any question related to Python? Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's all from my end. Thanks for attending, guys. And I guess it is already started recording. So probably the recorded version I'll put on YouTube and share the link with you. Okay, thanks for attending. Thanks for your time. Chalo boy.